Warning: the following podcast contains violent scenes that may be unsettling to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
The post-Civil War landscape of the American West offers escape and opportunities to many new immigrants who come to the country's shore. A few of them brave the journey to the camp town of Missouri Crossing, each looking for a new lease on life in the Dakota Territories. Join the settlers of Missouri Crossing, including Gregory Smith, played by Joaquin, Sister Margaret Miller, played by Monica, Bjorn Hagman, played by Chris, and Craig as the Keeper of Arcane Lore, as we explore the horrors that await us on Down Darker Trails. So the last couple of days, Gregory, you've been basically taking the time to scout out the rest of the camp town, and you, with the prompting of others, have noticed a lot more of the nitty-gritty of the town, and, it's kind of got a feel for it. One of the main issues that you got is, where are the settlers that came in with you going to settle? And walking around town, meeting people, you basically came down to three prospects. The closest option, because your guys are staying at the livery, is get somewhere near the livery. It's going to be close to the center of town. It's near the horses, so you could go into the horseshoe making business. And you have, quote, friendly neighbors. Boss Thompson seemed pretty friendly, but you're also pretty close to the action at the Silver Dollar for good or ill. The second was towards the north end of town near the Pelham coal mine. You could get coal for your forge, and it would be cheaper than getting it delivered across town, or save you time walking it over. It's possibly a bit further from corruption, but you're going to basically have a more Cornish flavored clientele for a while. Or you can go near the woodcutters camp. There's the river access. It's near Fox Island. There's wood and a mill there. And it'd be fast housing, but also wouldn't be as close to town and would kind of leave you on the edges of it. So with that in mind, Father Nos has asked you, and with the blessing of others, to kind of negotiate the deal for your own settlement, as well as to find land to build the church on. Many of your party have also agreed to go with whatever you decide, and
on account of me being the closest thing to a big businessman in the group. Pretty
much, yeah. And you showed a lot of leadership on the trails, so many of the other families and cowhands that came with you are willing to trust your judgment. Which, actually, how does Gregory feel about that?
Well, he was definitely a bit surprised because, he's grew up in Chicago in the 1800s, so he's used to, just being another blacksmith on the street, and then seeing slowly how the bigger machines are starting to come in and just start, doing the work of 10 men in an hour. And so he basically is like, oh, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go somewhere where I'm more relevant. And now he's like, oh, I'm more relevant, immediately more relevant. Wow. I wanted that, but that was faster than I thought it would be, essentially.
Yeah. Does Gregory see himself as a leader? Is that something that he's ever thought about, or does he kind of feel like he's just sort of thrust into the position?
Well, he's always sort of seen himself as the one in charge of his family, but he's never really seen himself as a community leader. That's something that's sort of brand new to him, and quite honestly, he doesn't really mind it on it, because he, like I said, at first it was just a surprise. Oh, people listen to what I'm saying, and then he's like, hey, people are listening to what I'm saying. Kind of like this. And of course, what he doesn't tell anyone is at the back of his head. He's like, okay, now that I have people watching my back, it means I can keep an eye out towards the prairie and make sure nothing follows us here.
Yeah, that feeling of being watched also might kind of play into your decision here. I know, another one of the leaders of your caravan, Bjorn, as you also notice that he's been off his game, out of character, because Chris pushed his role and then failed utterly, and Bjorn's been kind of hesitant to go into town for the last couple days, ever since the incident and the follow-on incident with the shooting in the middle of the street. And you're basically needing to take charge in order to get people all that livery, because while it's inexpensive housing, expensive over time will become very expensive, because at this rate, like, people are starting to wonder, like, how long could they afford to keep their horses and oxen there? How long could they afford to, sleep in hay? There's creature comforts that are wanting, and like, you could pitch a tent somewhere, but unless you have like a good claim on it, it's not as secure as people like.
It's like the difference between having a hotel room and having an actual home to go to.
Exactly. So whatever Gregory decides, it's going to come down to a trip to the Glasgow Silver Dollar. From talking to your fellow companions, as well as the advice
Fellow settlers?
Your fellow settlers from your wagon train, and the advice from the Burgesses, basically know that you need to talk to someone who's been referred to as the Jew in order to get things done. And Boss Thompson had pointed out that he's usually hangs out at the Silver Dollar as well. So with that in mind, what is Gregory thinking about these 3 areas? There was a map that I sent earlier that's pinned in the chat.
Yeah, I got it pulled up. Yeah, honestly, it's a bit of an interesting dilemma, because he is definitely part of him is eyeballing the spot close to the wood mill, the sawmill. Partly because he's like, we could like sort of set up a water wheel to help with the smithy if he wanted to at some point in the future. But he knows horses. He's done a lot of horseshoeing in his time. So having it by the livery would be nice and stable. Make sure it's by the people. He's not really as attracted to like the spot closer to the mine, just because to him it's like, it might be good business for the coal and the repairing mining equipment, but that leaves him a bit more exposed, and he doesn't like feeling exposed. And so it's definitely tough, because right now he's sort of thinking between the 2 options. And he's not quite sure which one he prefers more. They're about equal in his mind right now. Is there any way he can find out more about the 2 locations and see which ones I make any rolls to see which one I better?
I mean, you could go visit him if you like.
I suppose, yeah. Because he has heard that rivers sometimes flood, but growing up in Chicago, he's not really familiar with rivers when they flood. So yeah, I guess he would sort of wander around and sort of peek around near the sawmill just to see if the river did flood, would it just be washed away? Would it? He really has no idea of what exactly he should be looking for. Unfortunately.
Sure. So you head almost due west. It's not very far. You cross the main street where you've been staying, and you could already see the water from only like a few hundred meters away. And you see that there's a rudimentary sawmill that they've already had a water wheel put in, and you see men picking up logs and bringing them over to the saw and stacking them down. These are like really big men who basically do this every day for a living. They got like these metal like clamps that are carrying the trees, and like you got a whole line of them that are just like bringing logs over. You see a few people on break that are kind of like cooking up some sort of seafood stew by the water. Closer to the north, you see it looks like some bathhouses about like half a mile away up north by the river. And you're looking, and at this point by the sawmill, you're noticing that it's probably too deep to like cross with a horse, but it's narrow enough that like you probably could swim it before you get swept away. If you would like to make me either a geology or natural history roll to see if you can find anything else about, you mentioned the interest about the flooding, you can do that.
All right. I guess I'll go natural world just because I don't have points in either of those, and I might as well just see what I get. 68 out of 20. Nope. Can I ask one of the workers?
Sure, you could do that. Like, you're looking around like where the water meets the land, and it's hard for you to tell like where the flood line might be, because they've done a lot of work over here, so it's kind of tough. You could ask around. A lot of the men right now are busy working, but you could probably find one on break.
I'll talk to the ones making the stew.
Seems like an older man, probably around 60, receding hairline. He says, "Oh, hey, you come for work?"
Possibly. Looking for a place to set up my smithy. And I might be. This is a place I'm thinking about maybe setting it up, but I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah. Well, we got all this area, and he's pointing around just at a general location to the south that just seems to be like covered with trees. But then he says, but in a few weeks, we probably won't be needing it anymore, if you know what I mean.
Got it. Tell me, you've been here long?
About as long as anyone, couple months.
Gregory points towards the river. It's like, I heard stories on the trip over here of people, like rivers getting flooded during like rain seasons and stuff. And I'm trying to cipher whether or not putting a building here will be swept away in the rain or what.
Well, let's see. We could probably ask someone who's been here longer than me. He kind of sets down the ladle that he's stirring the soup with, and he kind of like walks closer to the river and yells, hey, Pete. And you see this silhouette who's kind of like in the water kind of look up, and it looks like he has some sort of like pan with him. And the man waves over and then starts panning again. And then the cook says, no, Pete, and starts waving for him to come by. Pete at some point gets the hint and like starts walking north from this little island and starts, like one of those things where you're kind of like treading while swimming, just to keep above water. He has like this pan with a wooden handle and clutched in his teeth, and you're getting a better look at him as he makes his way closer. And you see that he like has like an eye patch on, and he has like this permanent grin on his face, and there's like a bunch of scarring. And he climbs out of the water. Says, "Arr, hey, who ye be?"
Where'd you come from? I think you're a few miles too far inland to be plying your trade.
What? Silver?
Both Gregory and character and out character are just sort of giggling to themselves at this. Sorry. You've been here for a while, I see. Do you know how high the river gets when it floods?
Hey, yeah, and he's pointing out to the island that he's from. Yeah, up there, it gets up to that point. He's pointing, and you can see like a fair bit of the shoreline will disappear from the island. It's like just enough to let the foxes come out of their holes. And over here, I told him to build a little bit further north, but and he points about at the water wheel, and then just points a little bit higher than where you feel it would be good.
Yeah, I'm afraid of that.
But if you go on about a few paces that way, you'll be fine.
Really?
Yeah, you're looking around. This man, he's pointing out that the water wheel for the lumber mill probably will need some attention during the flooding season. But if you built a little bit north of it on the water, you'd probably be fine. Or if you built a bit east of it or towards the wood, you're probably not going to have much. And he's pointing around how like it's a little bit mossier type of grass near the river, and there's a bit more sand in it. But you take even a few paces east or south or north where you are, like it gets to more of like a thick, rich needle bed.
Well, thank you. What Pete was it?
Yeah, Pirate Pete. Don't ask.
All right, nice meeting you, old Pirate Pete.
You let me know if you get any more of these in. And he's indicating the pan that he basically had in his teeth while swimming across. But you notice that it looks like it's been rusted out a little bit. Or a shovel. Shovel would help me.
I'll let you know as soon as I get my forge set up.
Oh, you want one of them blacksmiths?
Yep. You want something made with iron or even steel? I'm your man.
Yeah, we might be doing business later.
Well, I plan on it. That's why I moved out here.
Yeah, he gives you a firm grip with his hand and shakes your arm, and like you're not a small man, but he gives it a really good shake.
Well, nice meeting you, old Pirate Pete.
So, with the help of the cook and old Pirate Pete, you find some area that it's currently being used, but in a few weeks the trees should be cleared out and the lumber camp should be not needing it. You might have a little bit of foot traffic between the sawmill and your house for a little bit after that, but it looks like it might be fine as long as you had good working relationship with the millers.
Yep. All right. Well, this spot's definitely looking better to me. Nice place by the water, good view, plenty of business for all the metal bits to fix. All right. Awesome. This is looking better. Well, doesn't matter how good looks to me unless I get some business numbers in there. He'll look towards the Silver Dollar and it'll be like, well, time to see if we can find this Jew they told me about.
You can, if you want, check out some of the lots near town, but a lot of them are just open lots with stakes, just partitioning off places. They don't really have as many of the natural resources, but they are closer to the center of town, and you'd get a lot more foot traffic for the shop. Also, we mentioned that your neighbors may or may not be friendly, depending on who you're able to attract. But it doesn't take you a whole lot of walking around to see some of the parcels of land. And you'd have a lot less land over here, but, location.
Right.
And also the business of the livery would provide some steady income with horseshoes and bridles, but it depends on how many people decide to retain their horses and stuff. And you feel like you could do whatever sort of metal work in either location, and the city spot would probably also have a little bit closer access to the coal. There's pros and cons to any of the three spots.
Yep. Stop making me think so hard. I'm supposed to just go crazy in this game, don't you know?
Yes, but a crazy person with a high administration skill or high accounting skill. But whatever you decide, it would involve a trip to the Glasgow Silver Dollar.
Yeah, I think Gregory will be wanting to put his smithy somewhere like in the spot near with the sawmill, just because it is close by the horse livery, and as a blacksmith, it's probably like one of the few ones to be in the town. It's a total. So that means if people want to come see him, they're gonna have to come see him no matter where he goes. Essentially, it'll help a lot if it's closer to town. But yeah, I think right near around the sawmill area, where he's going to want to do it.
Can you also make me an idea roll?
Okay, I forget what's that again.
So it's your intelligence.
Wish me luck. I got 45 on that. 79 out of 45. Nope.
All right, so nothing else comes to mind to differentiate the two or the three.
So yeah, barring any catastrophes, I think he's gonna pick near the sawmill area.
Okay, and the others, as well as Father Nos, give their blessing on that plan. And Father Nos actually asks if he could come with you to the Silver Dollar and as an observer to the process, because he's going to have a bit of a stake in this as well.
Well, I won't argue with your father. Just be aware what kind of place you're going into. It's a den of sin and iniquity, as they say.
That is what Bjorn was saying, but I feel it's fair to see what sort of flock we're going to be dealing with for myself. And my presence, for whatever reason, might give some air of legitimacy to our intentions. But, I trust you. And he passes you a really heavy purse. You heft it, and you can feel like quite a few gold and silver eagles in there.
Quite a hefty purse.
Well, the church will need land as well.
I see. Did you have a spot in mind by my smithy, or did you have somewhere in mind?
Well, my son, as we were kind of talking, us settlers that came in together, we would kind of like to keep our community together, and I think we might have a better shot at that if we, bargain collectively, if you will.
I see. Well, here's to be neighbors then, and let's do some business with our soon-to-be neighbors, I guess.
Yes, and as we discussed, business is usually settled at the Glasgow Silver Dollars over drinks and finalized the next morning at the assay office, which is the smaller wooden building next to it. you know that the property is leased, not purchased, because that would be illegal. Is there any thoughts going through Gregory's mind as he creeps closer to this like hive of scum and villainy?
He's definitely definitely thinking in his head. Wasn't quite sure what I was expecting when I came here, but going to a saloon to talk business and then talk business deals wasn't quite one of them.
Yeah, I mean, but being an immigrant, you are probably well aware of the whole business concluded at a pub idea. What time is Gregory going to head over to the Silver Dollar, and what is he planning on wearing? It's like probably, I want to say like closer to 6 o'clock in the evening at this point, because like you took some time to walk around the area and gather some information. Walking out to the various locations took some time. And what time do you want to head out over there?
I think around, well, he's just, I'd say he's probably head out, late-ish, like 7 or 8-ish.
Okay, so like just as the sun's kind of going down.
Yeah. And that's where how he'll dress.
It's like it's important because like how you present yourself is you don't want to like be up here too wealthy because then they might try to fleece you, but you don't want to be too low as well because then they might not take you seriously enough.
Yeah, I guess he put on his traveling pants, and I guess he put on one of his nice shirts.
Okay,
but he probably wouldn't wear too much else aside from that. He wouldn't because I would say he's got like a couple jackets or some various kinds. I'd say he just wear like the nice shirt and the traveling pants to show like he's been traveling, but he still has some bit of money to.
Okay. Can you make me then a credit rating roll, and I'm going to give you a 20% bonus for your description because that actually feels like an appropriate thing.
Nice. All right, that's 40. So I need a 60 to within 60. Yes, 32 out of 60. Even out of the 40, I would have made it.
Yeah, awesome. So first off, check your credit rating. Yeah, you feel like you can pull off that fine line of I can make this do, but I'm also a man of the world look. And Father Nos is kind of deciding between going in like his religious robes or just throwing on something simple. And seeing how you're dressed, he kind of puts away the black cassock and collar and tries to match more or less what you got going on and throws a straw hat over himself. All right. So the two of you head over to the Silver Dollar. At this time, it's pretty lively. There's lots of dogs barking again. It's your first time seeing it, but it's a big 2-story wooden building, biggest building in town at this point, all white pine on the front. And they have a brand new plank board porch up on it. You swing in the saloon doors and your nostrils are immediately enticed by the smell of just something boiling in the distance. It's some sort of meat stew. And your mind goes back to what the Burgesses were saying, that they are pretty much known for their stew here. And there's, people of all sorts. There's ladies of the evening soliciting their trade over in the corner. You see a gentleman in a kind of like a white suit kind of shuffling cards on a table. You see a few people talking at the bar. Coming in, like you hear some dogs growling at you, but you're not ugly enough that they start mistaking you for anything. Yeah, it's pretty early in the evening, the sun's setting, and they're starting to light some of the kerosene lamps in the wood interior. You notice that it's decorated by a few deer heads and just like oddities found in nature. There's like a little bit of a small mirror behind the bar, and there's a bunch of like amber colored bottles underneath it, which you figure is probably the corn whiskey that this place is pretty famous for. You're asking around for the Jew, but you get the response that he's in business right now, but why don't you have a drink and we'll let you know when he's concluded. Father Nos shrugs and decides to order a beer.
I think Gregory will do the same. He'll get a beer and have it close to him, but he'll keep an eye out around, just making sure that he is not just You're not just gonna have drinks shoved on him and then someone seals his clothes off his back or something.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of people of various ilk at the bar. You make your way to one of the high wooden stools and sit yourself down. You're kind of between like a couple of like people who just seem pretty into their drinks, and you're looking around and waiting. And one of them towards your left is kind of like looks up from his drink and looks at you. It smiles and looks back down at his drink.
Something funny on your mind?
No. It's nothing. Just you came in with the and he tilts his head to Father Nos, a couple of seats down, and then he picks up again, and the cowpokes and that the ugly guy who's basically a dog stud.
Hearing Bjorn describe, he's like, his grip tightens on the beer a bit, but he's like, yeah, what about them?
No hard feelings. And he offers his hands. Hendry's the name. What's your business in town?
Well, we planning on moving here, setting up a smithy, and do business here.
Just the smithy? I saw you come in with the Negro Cowboys, and there's talk of a few more of those Jesuits come through.
Well, people come seeking all kinds of things. People come wanting to spread religion. Others want to just have jobs. And, everyone's just heading west, trying to make a new life, like we're all trying to do.
I see that. It's basically what I decided to do myself.
So what do you do here?
Well, I fought in some wars, and now I'm just trying to make an honest living like any other man, I guess. And you see he's kind of like, he bends over the bar, and there's like one of those really short but long canines at his feet, and he kind of scratches on the head.
What's your business then?
I deal with supplying people what they need, you might say. Is there anything that your little enterprise might be needing?
Well, right now what I need is a spot of land to lease and then some lumber to help put it all together.
I see.
Not just for me, I'm afraid. I've been sort of elected, I guess you could say, to represent all our caravan of settlers.
Interesting. So you are some man of means then.
Well, right now I'd say I'm a man of connections.
What sort of connections do you have? And he starts kind of like rubbing on the facial hair that he has. It's kind of like, it's dark, but it's starting to gray at this point. It's like his hair's pretty greasy, but appears to be a little bit more well-dressed than you, but his clothing is a little bit more beat up than yours. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm looking for a place for myself, for a church, for some houses, and some other odds and ends that people might need. And from them, I guess you could say I can connect you with their money to get them what they need.
I think we can make something work. All right. And you say you are a skilled blacksmith.
That's when he sort of flexes his arm. I didn't leave because I was bad at my job.
Of course not. I didn't mean to insinuate. May I? And he kind of indicates your hands.
He shows his hands. Probably calloused, a couple of bird scars here and there.
And you kind of get the feeling that he's basically checking out your resume right now. Very good, very good. And he indicates to the man at the bar and puts up two fingers. The bartender sets two glasses down, fills both of them up, and puts one to each of you and leaves the bottle there for you, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I'll take a bit, but I've recently found that I need to keep a sharp mind. The journey over here was an interesting one.
Oh, interesting. Problem with the natives?
Nah. Well, no native men. Animals.
I see.
You ever any trouble with animals around here? Like, I don't know, wolves? I heard of maybe a bear or two come down from the north?
I mean, we have our issues, but, we got Fort Lincoln just over the river, and, we're doing okay with the Mandarin at this point. But, as long as we keep to our side of the river and they do the same, I don't think we're going to have any problems. You wouldn't You wouldn't be looking to cause any problems now, would you?
Of course not. Got family here.
Good. I like to see that. Family man. You're going to bring real, what's the word I'm looking for?
Legitimacy?
Legitimacy. Yes, exactly. I'm a man who wants to see this place succeed, and we need people like you to do it.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm so highly valued.
Yes, of course. And he finishes his drink and fills it up again from the bottle that was left there. So, why here?
Well, as it so happened, I have a brother over on the fort.
Oh, a brother.
He told me about the land here, and I figured, well, the city is getting too full of machines, doing the work of 10 men. I thought, might as well come out here where work of one man is appreciated properly.
Yes, you look like you could do the work of 10 men yourself, nodding at your physique. So, you are, as you say, a leader amongst your group, and they've trusted you to speak on their behalf. Do you think that you'd be able to keep them in line, keep them safe, and keep them, following the rules of this camp town?
Well, we had a little bit. Things got a bit tense on the way back, and I like to think I managed to keep cooler heads in line and keep tempers from getting out of control. Now, of course, I'd have to make sure that, the people here learn to watch themselves the same way, especially around my family, my daughters.
Very good. Can you make me a psychology roll?
10%, yay! This is going to go great. I made it! A 4 out of 10!
First off, check your psychology. But secondly, you have a feeling that he's sizing you up for something, but it's actually you got a 4. Is that your middle number on your sheet? Your great success number?
I don't know. It just have the automatic 10%.
Okay, so then I think 5 would be your good success. Okay, so yeah, that makes your good success. So you have this kind of feeling like he's being really polite and he's buttering you up and he wants something from you, but you can't quite tell what. But he's definitely sizing you up for something.
And so Gregory, he'll take his drink, the first drink that was offered to him, but he won't refill it, and then he'll just turn to the person he's talking to and say, You seem real interested in what I can do for this community.
As I should be. I'm also a businessman of sorts, and it's my job to make sure that the right people are here. We don't want, all those ruffians, as you may have seen and heard the other night.
Right. It's always horrible when ruffians get up doing stuff they shouldn't be doing.
Of course. Many of us have come here to get away from the long arm of the law, if you will. But, there must be balance, as there is in everything else. And, following the rules is something that this community values quite a lot.
Good to hear. It's always nice to be living with civilized people.
Yes. When you do talk to the Jew, just tell him that Henry says that you're a good bunch.
All right. I'll be sure to let the Jew know that.
He nods at you and he takes the bottle, fills up his glass one more time and slides it over to you and gets up and starts mingling with the rest of the crowd.
Gregory will just sort of hold the drink, but he won't drink it yet. He'll just sort of glance towards where the guy left and sort of wave Father Nos over.
Father Nos, who looks like he's been watching you the entire time, shifts over and takes the man Henry's chair and sits down and says, What was that all about?
Not too sure. Either that was the Jew himself or that was one of his right-hand men.
Interesting. Did he threaten you? Do you feel in danger or anything?
No. He just wanted to find out what our business here was and what we were doing.
Well, I guess it's natural for anyone who's been here for a while to have curiosities about, the new folks in town.
Yeah, he just sort of lean in to whisper to Father Nos, like, I don't quite know what he had plans for something, but I don't know what exactly. I think he's got some kind of trading business. So he's got something going on under the table. He wants to, have the town seem more legitimate with all us clean living folk being here, following the law.
Father Nos takes a sip of his beer. It's brown and foamy, and a little bit stays on his mustache. He wipes it off and then says, well, it's not out of the ordinary per se, given where we are, but we should keep our eye on him.
Definitely. Man with plans, especially ones he won't share with others, that's a man to keep an eye on.
If historical APs with a supernatural flair are your jam, then The Ultimate Evil is just right for you. With inspiration pulled from the Satanic Panic, The Ultimate Evil takes place in the 80s as 4 young men reunite to discover the mysteries that surround their childhood mentor's death.